City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Special beyond special.
Best player in the Premier League.
Captain Marvel. Drogba! Rudy! Oh, wonderful! That is one Derby diamond.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs. I'm Dylan alongside Mila and Grant. As always, episode 50, a special podcast. And with that, we have a very special guest, Facundo. Welcome back to the pod.
What's up, boys?
Yeah, jam-packed one. Chelsea became champions of something. I can't really remember what, but I think it's of the world, technically. We'll then talk about Arsenal, since we have the Arsenal correspondent here. Before getting into a new segment called Taking Stocks, where we are going to give our players that we think are going to have the biggest years this year and essentially say that at the end of the year, we know ball, because all of those are going to be correct. I have zero doubt that none of my takes are going to be wrong there. So we might as well jump into it. Grant, your team beat the supposed best team in the world by 3 in a pumping. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we did our prediction video. I said we had to be perfect, and I predicted a 2-2 win on pens. So, I mean, I think that kind of sums up everybody's mindset. We knew we had to be perfect, but even still, this team had shown so much, PSG, throughout the whole season, throughout this tournament, that they were the best team in the world. They were forced to be reckoned with. No one had an answer to them, including 4 English teams en route to their Champions League. So I think, like we said on our preview, there was only one way to beat them, and it was to play the way we know how to play. And we went band for band with them. And from minute 1, I was like, oh, it's a good start. And really the first 10 minutes, really good. Palmer had a gilt-edged chance that he missed. And I was thinking, oh, man, like I might be thinking about that for the rest of my day if he hit that. And then he had 2 more chances, and he was calibrated. I mean, big game player, big game plays. João Pedro for the 3rd. I mean, couldn't believe it. 3-0 at half, and then the halftime show. I mean, I'd be furious if I was on the other side of that. But yeah, I think we exposed some weaknesses. We attacked that right-hand side. Their left-hand side, our right-hand side. I think Maresca deserves a ton of credit for the way he set this team up. I mean, I feel like probably every game this tournament, every time the lineup comes out, there's always some unease within the fan base. I think a lot of people are like that, but it seemed pretty consensus throughout the tournament. I think Lavia fit probably plays for Reece James at DM, but he put Reece in midfield, Malo at right back, back 3, Chalobah, Colwill, Cucurella. Again, we thought, or at least I thought, Tosin would be in there. Palmer on the right, Neto on the left, 3-man midfield, Caicedo, Reece, Enzo, João Pedro up top. And I think we saw it throughout the game. Gusto pretty much held the width in possession. Winger Palmer tucked in. Enzo and Neto are on that left-hand side. So again, that 3-2-5 we've come to get used to. But I think Reece James was really good role just to kind of cover for Gusto in terms of the transition situations. Obviously, we know he's comfortable defending there. Caicedo does what Caicedo does. I mean, just standard for him at this point, what he does for that midfield. But Neto was pretty much playing wing back, marking Hakimi. Enzo Fernandez was on Vitinha duty pretty much the whole game. We pressed in that 4-4-2, and it was really fluid. Like you would see Chalobah or Colwill, even Cucurella as well, get really high in their press, but we had cover. So the team, it looked like a team. The way we've been praising PSG and saying how good they play as a unit, that's what we looked like. We out PSG'd PSG in that sense. We played a very similar style, and we did better. 1 through 90. The second half never really felt too cagey for me. Obviously, we didn't get another one, but I didn't think they were too much of a threat. And yeah, the game, I could be more impressed. I was always saying I'm kind of cautiously optimistic these past few weeks, kind of what I'm seeing with this team. But I think I'm done with the call. I've seen enough. I've seen the mentality that these guys have. Talking before the game, we're going to win. We're going to play our way. They asked Maresca, you guys are going to have to suffer without the ball. He said, who said that? You know what I mean? And then we go out and beat them 3-0. But, I mean, each player deserves some praise. I think Robert Sanchez, we've talked about him quite a bit. I think it's unanimous from all you guys. He's one of the worst goalkeepers in the Premier League since signing for us. I think he's been that bad. He's been really bad. These past few months, he's been unbelievable. I think that was probably the best game I've seen from him in our shirt because the shot stopping was elite. I think there were at least 3 or 4 saves that were very impressive. But his distribution, I mean, he played that long ball for Gusto on the first goal. And throughout, I mean, even not just the long balls, like smart in between the lines. I was terrified of that press. But man, Robert had a fucking brilliant game. Now I'm seeing people say he's earned the spot, and he probably has. Personally, I still have the shakiness, right? The sample size I've seen, a big percentage of that pie chart was a shaky goalkeeper. But he's been top. If we go into it, the same mentality that I did at the end against Forest. After we won that game, if you told me we're going into next season with Robert, be very disappointed. If you told me now, I can absolutely live with it. Long term, I still think there needs to be an upgrade there, but I don't think we should. He was fantastic. Left back Cucurella, I mean, asked to do yet another role. He's back 3 on the left side, pressed Mark Douay out of the game. He didn't really have much to do. I thought Cucurella was fantastic, but again, we've talked about him enough. Colwill, I mentioned him here and there, but he was immense again defensively. Oh, Cucurella, he had that stop earlier before we even scored, cutting off that Douay cutback. That could have absolutely turned the tides in this game. So yeah, he's been top. Colwill really becoming a leader in this team, and I've been on him a bit, but I think he's grown into the player we've always kind of hoped he would become. Even at this young age, he's already a leader on and off the pitch, and I couldn't be more happy with him. The nonchalant gimmick seemed to have gone, and now he's a defender. You get defender energy from him now, which is kind of what I want. Chalaba, I mean, a year ago, he got kicked out of the preseason tour, not allowed to travel. U21s sent to Palace. And in January, gets recalled. And he's been immense. He was immense in that game as well. I don't think it was just Skelly had nothing all game. Got hooked pretty early in the second half. Dembele, again, same thing. I think Chalaba was unbelievable in that game, and he deserves so much credit, praise. We still might sell him. I think it'd be really hurtful, really harsh. I'd love to keep him. I've always kind of been on that. But he was fantastic. Gusto, I mean, he's been pretty bad most of this year. He played his best game in our shirt. It was a similar role that we saw last year from him. But, yeah, he looked so confident. Defending, again, Kvaratskhelia, really quiet game. And Gusto, there's a ton of praise for that. Caicedo and Reese, I've spoken enough about them. Enzo Fernandez, you see him crying at full time. He pushed us when we were awful. I guess he saw the last slide of the PowerPoint, which we have on the screen. He must have seen that because he fought tooth and nail to come to us when we were in 12th place, and it looked bleak. Suffered through a year of Pochettino after that. So to come into this team and re-earn his spot, wear the armband for us on countless occasions, he's proper. Neto putting in an absolute shift. João Pedro straight off the beach to doing what he's been doing. I couldn't have told you that. I wasn't a huge fan when the rumors first came out. I was wrong. No problem. And then Palmer. So Palmer does. Simple. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's the Ballon d'Or on the right. It's the Ballon d'Or. Dembele deservingly is going to win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah. No.
But Conference League is not a very you can't really come to the table with this Champions League, Conference League, but we will be there next year. We'll be in those conversations. That's what I see with Palmer. I mean, down year, he had 31 GA. We love talking about GA. Couldn't hit a barn door for 4 months. This is the level of player we're working with.
Yeah. No, you to summarize your your points there. Everybody played at 8 out of 10 at the very bare minimum.
Unbelievable.
And it honestly,
And
for
they all
me, it
deserve
came
that
down to
credit.
just 100%. I think everybody involved in the team for Chelsea deserves some form of credit.
Dewsbury
one way or
Hall put in
another.
a shift.
Yeah, even I think that everybody that's been questioned so far about Chelsea and what they've done, all the answers have been kind of rectified. I mean, you guys have gone out with this kind of crazy philosophy, and it works. Look, I'm not going to say that spending $1 million is like the hardest thing in the world, but it definitely is not the easiest thing. And you guys did it, and it's worked. And we're going to see kind of the progression as we go along here. But it's all culminated to this world championship. I'll stick on Cole Palmer because I think he's the main highlight that I got out of the game. The kid's class. He's kind of cemented himself as the best cam now with KDB leaving. For me, I just think that he has that much impact. It was interesting seeing him not score for a while, and also Palmer on the right. Like, it sounds like that's what we're going to be getting for most of next season. I think that's just his best position is when he has space.
Palmer put in a shift defensively too.
Yeah. All the questions that I've had about Cole Palmer in terms of taking a superstar leap kind of have been answered this year in terms of like when you're playing at your worst, like what's your baseline level? And now I'm seeing what the baseline is. It's just a 7. Like there's certain players where I just kind of look at the baseline. I'm like, you are 7 every game. Palmer's one of those guys. Not sure what Mila or Facundo have. Obviously, Facundo, you're the anti Christ when it comes to Chelsea. So how are you feeling?
I feel like I've had enough conversations with Grant about this, but I've always been on been of the opinion that Chelsea were on their way back. I think PSG played a pretty sloppy game for their standards. But I did think that Robert's distribution and that creative way of getting Gusto up the pitch, running in behind Kavicha, I thought was pretty creative. I'm not worried about Chelsea in transition games or moments like that where they can just play through you quickly and then get forward. We've talked about it enough. I think their next step is really against those teams that sit back. That's kind of the next evolution for them. But I don't know. I thought they've played really good game. Palmer was impressive. I thought Gusto and Sanchez were honestly just as impressive as those guys. João Pedro.
All of them.
It's just a little bit of confidence. I like that they have the versatility between Delap and João Pedro, in which one is more of an out-and-out 9 and the other one's more of a – you can call him a false 9. Honestly, I think he's a really great overall 9. Like, he's just really comfortable dropping into midfield in those deep spaces. So, yeah, I want to hate on Chelsea, but I can admit when they do well. Like, we'll see what happens this season. I think for them, the next part is maybe just a transfer or two in the defense and really solidify that. I think they have a lot of attacking options. I think they have a lot of midfield options. It's just really, like Grant mentioned, the defensive side of the game and the intensity in which they play. I think that's what let them down at sometimes last year was just lack of intensity, whether it's pressing or just defensive structure. So if they can be a unit like they were in this game, I think they're a threat in the league, which is exciting because you potentially have 4 teams that are fighting for the top position. So, yeah, as much as I want to shit on Grant and Chelsea, I think they were pretty impressive in that game.
You're going to have to wait 4 years as well. We're going to have that gold patch for 4 years. But I think it's a good point. Maresca, I think we talked about it in our preview a bit, Dylan, showed a lot of folds tactically throughout the tournament, and he did it again in the final. But I think that's where a lot of credit goes. We've been critical, and I think the more I'm watching them play in this tournament, it might be down to the players just as much as we were criticizing the manager in terms of, oh, Chelsea looks slow. They don't know how to attack. I think it's 100% on the manager, the way some of the narratives were in terms of us and our style of play when we were struggling. I think we're starting to see, and again, it's natural progression that they're going to get more and more comfortable with the manager and his ideas. But I think it just kind of to that. And it really frustrates me just knowing the infighting within the fan base for pretty much a whole year, like defending Pochettino of all against everything. They want a manager to do this. They're describing their current manager while complaining that their current manager is boring. It blows my mind. I just hope that like the fan base can actually come together and understand we got our guy. It was a unique route. It's not what we've been used to for 20 plus years. We're back where we need to be. We need to get behind it now. We need to get going. We need to support this team, support this group. So hopefully this can be a turning point for the fan base. But the only other thing I really wanted to mention was as soon as we won it, it's, oh, you should win it. You've spent $1.5 billion. You get that a lot. And I do understand the valid argument, but the same people saying that are also the same people saying that they're all shit. You see the screenshots of a front three. This is $1 billion. So you just have to pick a side because the shit players won a trophy, which doesn't make sense. I shouldn't be ranting about stupid Twitter conversations, but
No, you shouldn't.
my point is you got to pick a side. You can't say they're shit, but then say they're worth $1.5 billion.
Well,
Just pick a side.
what
That was
I'll,
the only other thing I wanted to
what I'll
mention.
guarantee you, Grant, everything that you just said, by next month, we'll have the same conversations. After one Chelsea
course.
loss, it'll be Maresca's not worth it.
Yeah.
This is $1 billion squad. That's
It's
just
disgusting. It's
that's
awful.
the narrative.
It's awful.
Well, yeah,
Game's
that's
a
just
game.
what Twitter is. It's the Twitterverse. But we all have eyes. We all saw what that team looked like for most of the year. There was a spell where they were not great. Then they picked it back up, and then they won with 2 titles. They're a good side, and they are worth a lot of money. Those are just 2 facts, right? So if everyone else just is thinking that those are somehow not correlated, like, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I did
We
want to
live in
get
reality.
yeah, well, we try to be based in it.
It's reality. The money was
I want to
Still
I
no.
want to get Mila's
Still no.
opinion on this a little bit because honestly, like that game reminded me a lot of some old City play where, look, I'm not a Chelsea, I'm not an Arsenal fan, I'm not a City fan. I don't like your guys' teams, but in terms of just enjoying the way that you guys play and watching the way you play, that reminded me a lot of old City.
I mean, I think that makes sense. Just
Like, do you-
based on the core of their team, our manager literally his only previous experience is City. So
half
I
our
think-
11.
yeah, there's going to be a lot of that, and it's not a bad thing at all for them. I think it's working, but there's definitely going to be their own take on it. Our players are not their players, so obviously there's going to be tweaks. I think Grant talked about that tactical versatility already. It was great. They had a great game, honestly. It's a tournament at the end of the day, so anything can happen. And on the day they were perfect, and I think on the day as well, PSG were far from it. That's a whole different conversation on their ability to play high intensity games back to back to back. But in terms of Chelsea, I think they're on the right track. I'm not too high yet. I don't want to get too high yet, just because, like I said, it's a
I'm on the
tournament.
moon.
Yeah, you should be.
You should be.
But just as a Premier League viewer, I think you got to take into account that Prem is not a tournament. It's a long, hard, grueling battle.
Yeah.
So that happened to be the issue last year. If it was just 20 games, 15 games, Chelsea could have ran away with the title. Could have.
Good
But
times.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's a long season. So we're going to see how they deal with that stamina season long. I think is the main takeaway. Or not main takeaway, but what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah. It's
really
a
have the
worry for
time.
me.
Yeah.
It's a worry. We're back in 3 weeks. I mean, that's the agenda if we fall off, by the way. Like, we're just going to put that out there now. We had no off season, bro. We just had to go straight back. But that's really my only concern with it. I think mentality-wise, they really developed. I think I always go back to it. The Fulham game away, George Neto last-minute goals. I think that turned the season around. That was the point. They had to turn it around, and they did. And they didn't look back. But my only worry is really that can they sustain it in terms of the physicality, because you saw we that high intensity press, mind you, in these games in the States over the summer, there's been less of it because of the weather. But again, you can't do that over a full season. August to May. You can't do it, especially World Cup year too. No. So that's really my only worry, is making sure we can have our best team out there. Every team's going to deal with injuries. That's part of the game. I just hope we don't have a crisis. But we have a lot of players on the books too. So hopefully the squad is rounded and shaped into final form, and then off and running. I think we can absolutely compete, but I still think rationally, I've always said we're a year away from, almost expecting us to be there. But I think we can absolutely put that together. We've clearly seen it, but like Mila said, it's a season, it's not a tournament. Whole different grind. So maybe this is the year they get a feel for it, they understand what it takes, yada yada. Hopefully they don't keep doing it 2 years after the fact, and then make the jump. So we'll see where
And
we're at.
managing UCL.
Yeah.
That too, yeah. Dude,
You-
imagine if we didn't make UCL. Imagine if we did all this, but we were in Europa League.
No more A and B team.
Yeah, no more
A
Yeah.
and B team.
But before
Anyone
before
need any of those guys? Shao Felix?
before we finish off on some Enzo Maresca stuff, Mila, because I want to take it for a clip because I think it's just such an awesome stat. Can you tell us the stat on PSG really quickly?
Okay, I looked into it a little more, but it's basically that all the starters that won that PSG Champions League have played about 20 to 25 league games. Started 20 to 25 league games. So that's why I bring it up when they've just played a month's worth of footy, high intensity footy, especially on their side of the table, with those starters playing game in, game out, and then that sudden just drop off against Chelsea in the final it's definitely something to think about. But at the end of the day, Chelsea, I still think, dominated.
No, yeah.
Do you feel like the narrative on PSG went too far though? And maybe I'm just sounding
Yeah.
biased because we played them, but I do think that there was a sense of like inevitability with them. And I'm like, you can get at this team. Like
Bayern Munich just did it.
I think a lot of people
we
shot
did it. We
themselves
just
in the
didn't
foot.
score.
I think they just had a good press, and a lot of people weren't like able to deal with that. And especially in our game, we could have knocked them out the tournament. I know Dylan and I were talking about it, but we had that game in the palm of our hand, and they just attacked us, and we crumbled. And I think that happened a lot throughout that run to the championship for them.
For me, PSG had a level of like take your soul energy where like if you gave them enough chances, they would inevitably just take the game. They've did that a bunch of times. Like that Madrid game, you gave them 2 opportunities, pretty clear cut. They just take your soul. It's over. I honestly, that's what it felt like for Chelsea. Is like they punched him in the mouth and there was just no response. And at the end of the game, like I'm gonna call it being a sorry ass loser, but like honestly, they just got punched in the mouth. They didn't even know how to react. Like to the point where their manager attacked a player. Like that's how bad it felt for them.
Disgrace.
Which is crazy.
As Champions League winner to do that, like, what are you really that worked up about this?
Yeah, bro. That means that's how I know
They
we're back.
just
Though.
got sung.
We have them.
Oh, yeah, you
we
sung
have
them.
them rattled like that.
We're
Again, though,
all
like
losers.
this is where it's like you should be on the moon, but I just be careful because this is just a 1 month span of footy. This could be a higher patch than
they were
what you've seen
invincible in the
throughout season.
league. They were invincible in the league until they clinched it, and they won the Champions League. They won the cup. This is the first time all year they've lost in like a competition. We're like, wait a minute, we didn't win. Like that's literally what their reaction was. They pulling hair.
Came back
I
there,
heard
beat
some
'em.
stuff about. Yeah, I mean, they beat him. Right. They beat him in a game. You get what I meant, though. This is the first time it was over. Like they didn't win the competition. They didn't win their what? So, yeah, I think that's what it was. And to see them acting like that, it was kind of crazy. It almost ruined the whole kind of thing. We're celebrating on the field all night. It's the coach. I mean, that was very unprofessional, but we still ended up celebrating in the end. And then the president gets in the way of the trophy lift. I mean, it was a whole just
So
mess.
dank.
But I'm glad we won. I mean, what a beautiful trophy. We won the first iteration. They renamed all the old Club World Cup champions the Intercontinental Cup champions. We're the only world champions in the history of club football. And we're going to flaunt it for 4 years. I'm going to be I'm not going to try and be too. At the end of the day, after what this fan base has seen the past 3 years, I'd say deserves you don't deserve anything in this game, but it's vindicating.
Sure feels nice.
It feels great, especially at the context of the United Kingdom tried to rip this away from us, froze assets, tried to kill the team. A lot of rivals were gloating in it. They were, oh, great. Get rid of them. Should have killed us. Like, it's very good to see. It's beautiful to see that we're back where we belong after bumpy road over the past few years. So thank you, Roman, for signing off on Todd, not letting Mr. Ratcliffe buy us. Shut that down. You handpicked Todd. Well done, Todd. Keep it going, son.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop that narrative right in the fucking chest. Yeah, if you spend $1 billion, you're not gonna die. Like that's immediately pulling out.
Bro, they shut us down. We were trying to re-sign Rudiger, and they said, "Oh, you can't do that."
AD device and fucking shock the system. Let's not.
No, he went to Madrid. We couldn't sell tickets. The store was closed. Like they shut everything down.
Yeah, they did
all of it.
And then you guys 2 years later got $1 billion worth of assets. I think that narrative is lazy, just as the other narratives are lazy. Should have killed us.
It happened.
Chelsea. Yes, but then you guys
tried
again
to shut it down.
Yourself. Yes, they did, but then it didn't happen. City could be doing the same thing.
Yeah, literally. Mila's probably like,
he's been running with that agenda. It's a W.
I think it's a crap agenda. That's what I'm saying. If we're going to be neutral,
it's not agenda. They tried to end the club. They tried to end the club.
I think that was for world context and global issues purposes.
Yeah.
Was Roman involved in that?
I'm not going to say whether or not someone was part of an oligarchy, but
yeah, exactly. It's a smart decision, to be fair. I don't know, man. It was a rough time. I thought we were going into next year with Rudiger and Christensen as a center back pairing. They're both in Spain because we couldn't re-sign anybody.
No, look, I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I just think that it's lazy to be like, oh, well, you should have killed us. It's like, how were they supposed to kill you? That's not sport. And you guys then got $1 billion. I just think the narrative is lazy. It's just like
1.6 at this point. I get
you.
It's a tagline that you're not a fan of. You're not a fan.
I just don't like that. That is oh yeah, should have killed us. Like, oh, okay.
So if I left that out, if I left that out and just said, man, from 12th and this horrible situation where we weren't able to buy and sell, we lost some guys to come back. It feels good after a long time, but you're just saying throwing in the sprinkle of doubt that it was gone forever is bullshit.
Yeah, a little bit, because Chelsea is always going to have back. Like, I thought that you guys were always going to get a new owner. I just didn't think it would be to this extent, but I didn't think it was like, you guys are a London-based side. Like, London-based sides are worth a lot of money.
You've utilized every financial loophole you possibly could use.
Yeah, as soon as Todd came in, every loophole imaginable.
And then you sold your women's team to yourself, and now you just sold the
Villa
player
just
you
did
bought to
Villa
your
just did
multi-club model Strasbourg, man. Like, stop. You cheated and you're getting away with it, but you're being allowed to do it. So technically, it's fair game. But stop with this corruption. Stop with this propaganda.
No one's breaking any rules. Aston Villa just did it. They just did it. Oh man,
you guys.
I mean, I get it though. It's
that's what it was.
It's bullshit. But
that's how I'm looking at it.
If they're not going to if governing bodies aren't going to do anything about it, why wouldn't you get that competitive advantage? It's kind of like weight cutting in MMA. If you can be bigger than your opponent, do it. So that's everyone does it. In this instance, not everyone's doing it, but a lot of teams who are strapped for cash are really pushing to make moves. Think of a fringe Big Six team like maybe Villa or Newcastle. You're going to see these sneaky PSR deals. They're going back and forth. They're trading guys. We bought a guy from the French league in January, probably played twice for 5 minutes each time. Just sold him to Strasbourg. We got fined by UEFA recently and needed to make $60 million in funds from our UEFA A list. The kid we bought in January was on our A list. No, he wasn't even in this tournament. He's already at Strasbourg. But that's money off that A list, money off that fine. Like, they're playing the game. Thankfully, the game that we like is on the field, but objectively, I do kind of think it's funny that they're totally cheating, if you will, because it's legal cheating. But if they're not going to do anything about it, I love watching these guys play. That 230 million pound midfield looks worth every penny. They're fantastic. So, shit.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Facundo, give your community notes on this photo, and then we can get into Arsenal.
There's a trophy missing, but I'm just not going to get into
The
this.
community shield?
No, the
No.
FA Cup.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Anthony Taylor won you that FA Cup.
Sure.
Wasn't
Hey,
a red.
Trophy's a
it's-
trophy.
Yeah, trophies are trophies.
That is the point. That is the point of the game, like I just said.
Let's get into it. Facundo, you might be the one and only person that wouldn't fall for this ragey piece of shit thumbnail that I just threw together that will be used in a later in this week. But your team signed Zubamendi, Gyökeres, Noni, and a handful of other guys that have been I would consider depth pieces. That's why I honestly just chucked the big three up. But I kind of want to hear your opinion. Let's start with Gyökeres and Noni since the most recent, and then we can kind of shift into everybody else.
Yeah. Gyökeres, I'd like to point out that they haven't finalized anything. Like all this formal advancing just for agents to then come to London to then start discussing the terms. So
Portuguese
that's not
teams love doing
finalized,
that.
which yeah, I'll just give my opinion of the player. Like I do think he's a really good player. I remember hitting up Grant after the Coventry Luton playoff final and bringing up this guy and then going into a loophole on YouTube and watching him. And then he eventually moves to Sporting. I've been a big fan of the player. I just think with just like preference of how I like my team to play and what I think would best fit us, I don't think he is the best fit. But it's not really worth the discussion when C.O.C is at the price and Ekitike is at the price that he is. So market opportunity, I think it's honestly relatively cheap, cheaper than I thought we would get him for if it goes through. He puts the ball in the net, which has been a complaint of mine from last season. I think my opinions evolve there a little differently. I think you need wow and like world class in certain moments, and he could be, and I could eat my words. I don't really see that. I think you'll get a lot of Havertz minutes. I could see a world where both of them play at the same time and they kind of play off of each other because their strengths or they're very complementary of each other. Like I think Gyökeres, even for his size, can't really back to goal, like hold the ball up when the initial header and kind of come deep. He can do it a little bit, and then vice versa. Like he can run in behind and be clinical, whereas Havertz in those moments kind of struggles. And there's some hope for Martinelli there that he likes to drift out wide, and then Martinelli can make those diagonal runs in behind. So, I mean, there's positives. I mean, there's ways to get creative with it. I'm not going to shit on it. I still think it's a really good player coming into the club. And I trust the manager to figure it out. He has. I mean, I felt iffy about Havertz coming in, and now I really do think that he suits the way that we play. So, yeah, overall, that one would have preferred C.O.C, but obviously at that price, not really worth it. It'd be interesting to see with this being delayed so much, and like maybe you go back to Leipzig and you're like, hey, are you willing to negotiate now? But I probably think that's unlikely at this point. Noni, I think it was a weird start to the window. Definitely not I don't want to call it a priority signing, but it wouldn't have been the one I had done first. But if a player wants to come and you think that you can secure the rest of your targets, then ultimately order of operations doesn't necessarily matter as whatever you get at the end. I like the player. I always talk to Grant about how I like players that they don't care and will run at their fullback and just want to do something. And I think obviously C.O.C missed a lot of time last year. Martinelli's not really been in great form. I don't really think Noni's really that great off the left. I think he's much better off the right. So it gives C.O.C some breather minutes. I like the idea of they're kind of the same in terms of they'll go at people, just different approaches. Noni's really just, I'm going to run at you full speed, get you off balance. C.O.C can kind of be a little bit more patient in his approach. I wonder about the possibilities of C.O.C then playing the 10 and Noni playing out wide. So yeah, I just think overall those two. It'd be interesting to see how it works out. I think they'll be sharing a lot of minutes, mostly Gyökeres and Havertz. I think Noni will take a backseat to Saka for sure, but he'll get minutes in the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, even in the league. So yeah, I would like to see Saka play a little bit more of the 10. I think that would be really interesting. And then I don't know if you want me to talk about Zubimendi, if you want me to pause there.
Let's wait on that. But I'm curious because you did say there that you want to see Saka in the 10. Does that then move Odegaard out of the side? Is that how do you tactically make that work? Just so I can visualize it in my head.
I think at the end of the day, this discussion's been going on all summer that these teams are playing 60 to 70 games. I think if you're one of these teams at the top level, you've got to start having honest conversations about if they're not going to limit the amount of games and they're just going to introduce rest periods or whatever it is, then you have to be a bit better about having versatile guys that can play different positions, and it allows other people to rest. There's a world where Saka could play the 10, Odegaard could play the 8. They're both playing. No one's being removed from the lineup. I just think that if you have players that are able to play in different positions or just I don't know, I like the idea of Noni's a runner who can run at someone, and then Saka just offers a little bit of a different threat right next to him, and they can both interchange in those positions and be successful from that position.
It reminds me of Kulu and Brendan Johnson at Spurs when Kulu went into midfield.
Or even Noni and Palmer. There's
also a world champion you're bringing into the team, so winning experience. I think that's something.
Yeah, he didn't play in the final.
We're shipping him a medal. All good. You let everyone try it on.
Nice. I thought Trump took it. Anyways, yeah, I just think if you're one of the teams at the top level, you have to give guys rest and just rotate. And if that means guys playing in positions that aren't familiar, then I think that's okay. Overall, I think squad depth has been improved a lot. Obviously we're not talking about guys in the 6 or the back end of the field, but I think overall the ability to have 2 at every position and have 2, that's been my biggest complaint, is when the guys that aren't playing well, that are starters, they're not playing well or whatever, then the guy that comes in really isn't at the level. They're worse than when a starter's playing bad. So it doesn't really make a difference. I think this season you'll see guys more at the level, so it just helps. So when you're playing in those competitions, I think everyone's biggest complaints, why can't you win an FA Cup? Why can't you win a Carabao Cup? I think these moves at least make you a bit more competitive in those areas and give you a little bit more depth in the league when you're playing in December or whatever it is. So overall, I just think you kind of have to get used to it, and the good teams are going to have good players everywhere, and they might not be playing every game. I think City has set a pretty good example of what that looks like.
Yeah, we've talked
players covering.
We've talked about that in the aging report of just how many guys you need, and honestly, I just think that's modern football at this point. We're getting to a point where everybody's just going to be a buyer's market, and eventually you're going to see all these crazy squads that are just like Chelsea's. Chelsea just did it first. I think City are on that wavelength.
Head of the curve, baby.
Yeah, and so everyone's playing catch up. I think Arsenal's just the next team in that wave. I mean, how many guys have you guys said now? Including the kid that is reportedly getting 6.
I think you're going to have windows within your PSR in which you're a competitive team, and you're going to have to designate 1 of 3 summers to really make a coordinated plan in a transfer window, when you're spending a lot of money and then giving yourself those other 2 years to kind of balance your books. So I think this was just our window, and I think it's weird that everybody feels like they kind of have the same window where they're all trying to make a play at the league because it's so up in the air. But yeah, I would have rather this last summer, to be completely honest with you. But ultimately, if the guys Zubimendi ended up coming, so it didn't really make a difference. It's just other positions in which there wasn't a lot of there's not really good striker pool last year. So I don't know. You just kind of got to take what the market gives you at points.
Yeah. Save up for Isak. I think you guys have had a pretty good window, all things considered. I think the Noni news at the time, I was a big fan. I think obviously for a few reasons, it's good banter along with the profit. Again, our whole project, we have to sell. We've cooked the books for a decade. The byproduct of that is we need to sell to comply with PSR, whether it's academy players or making profit. But like you said, that news coming out before getting the Gyökeres deal, we're at 90% at this point. Before getting this other business done, I think Mosquera is a good depth piece. The only thing left is probably an Eze, someone similar in that profile. That's the only other thing I could think of. Maybe one more attacking setting, but I think you've gotten everyone on your list. I mean, you got a backup keeper. Thanks for the 5. Madueke is good depth. I think he could play across that front line. To your point, he's going to play. He's going to play. There's going to be a lot of variations of how Arsenal set up. There are minutes in there. Norgard, I think, again, that was kind of funny at the time, but it's a good signing. He's played in this league. I thought anytime we play Brentford, he always has a pretty good game against us. 11 million. You saw those videos of him behind the scenes. He's going to play for every time he plays.
That was kind of cool.
I think that was a really good signing. Absolutely. It's beautiful stuff. It really is. So that's a good signing. And then, Zuba Mendy, he's going to be very good. I think it's a very good signing for them. Can hold Rice's hand a bit. Rice push up even more, really unlock him, like get the best out of what his skill set is and what he's able to do and bring to the table. I think it's going to help him out a lot. I think Odegaard as well. So I think that midfield 3 looks really good. Up top, I think it really just kind of we don't know what Gyökeres is going to do. I think to Facundo's point, he's going to score goals. I think he's going to end up with goals regardless of whether we think he's shit. He's really good. He'll put away chances. But similar to Facundo, I have my reservations. I think we're pretty much on the same page in terms of Šeško's the better profile, but he's too raw and way too expensive. It didn't make sense. This guy who scored 60 goals again for this price, it's less than Havertz. Like, yes, deal. So it's pretty simple. I think they're going to be a good team. There's no doubt. I mean, we love making fun of them. They had a bad year, and I think it goes back to their window. They didn't do anything last summer.
Yeah.
So they're responding. This is intent. We've been talking about it all the time. One of all these teams because we enjoy it. But then when we give credit talking about, there's intent. This is intent. They're saying we fucked up last year. We can't have that again. Rectified. And I think they're pulling every string they can to do it. It took a little bit. I think they had to have been working behind the scenes. They don't want prices to go up to get involved. Fucking bid on someone again. Taking care of their business in the background. And I mean, they're all but done. What do you think, though, Facundo? Anyone else you need to get?
The deals have been surprisingly favorable in our favor. Like, I think in terms of just price, like, not trying to get nerdy about it, but I just think like base fees, add-ons, like whatever the agent 10% thing like was, like it's lesser value than I thought, or it's less value than I thought we would have to pay. It kind of took a while, I think, to get used to how the sporting director operates, as opposed to where like Edu was just super methodical, and if it wasn't your number one target, you kind of pivoted at the end, and I think that was the frustration a lot. Yeah, I think the position I played, so I think it's honestly one of the most smartest players on the field, but I honestly think that Zubamendi signing is going to be really, really good for us. Just a guy that really knows how to dictate the pace of a game, and my biggest thing with that position, and I get it, Bryce doesn't do this enough, but is pass the ball forward. I don't, obviously with some discretion, but I think the fact that he's willing to kind of just play through lines and get up the field quicker, and then just have moments where he knows his team just needs to sit in a little bit and just keep a little bit of the ball. The depth there with Norgard, obviously being experienced in the Premier League, another leader, another older guy, which I think matters in terms of just like having a voice in the experience and just bringing something new in terms of like an appreciation for where he's at, the players he's going to get to play with that are going to bring the best out of him, and then him just making sure that he's pushing those guys. I haven't honestly seen a whole lot of Mosquera, the center back signing. So I'm excited to see what he kind of looks like. But from what I've heard, is just kind of similar to Saliba, really good technically with his feet. But yeah, overall, I mean, if you've got to get that left wing 10, whatever, as a Rodrigo, like I don't think it's Rodrigo. I think
just one player though.
Yeah, I mean, just get Eze, and then
it's looking like Eze.
If you have leftover cash and you feel like you can buy a youngster in that position, like I don't know what there's a kid on Lyon or something.
Fofana.
Maybe, yeah. That's getting a lot of like hype right now. I haven't watched any of
The
him,
left
but
winger?
maybe, yeah. Like you give Martinelli
He's on our
another
list, so
year,
that
and
means
then
he's
if it
good.
doesn't work, then you can sell him for a good amount of cash next year.
You know what, Dylan?
And then you have someone else. But
Good left winger, actually. That I think Arsenal he'd do well there. Can you think of one?
Yeah, there's a specific profile that I sent you that I think Arsenal could use a bit of off the left wing, and he's definitely one of them.
What was that profile?
I can't say it on the podcast. Unfortunately, I'd have to clip it out.
Number 17, Facundo. What would you think of him at Arsenal? I think our sporting director still might fucking buy the guy. So I don't know.
I mean,
but yeah, I think Eze, the deal
that
might be difficult. I saw they don't want installments. Palace.
I haven't really.
It makes sense.
I don't really take, unless it's Ornstein telling me something. I'm not really going to take it for value. I've heard that the release cost is 68 million. I think they'd be willing to negotiate a little bit beneath that. I think they'd want a good amount of that up front. Obviously, we would try and do a lot of that stuff in installments or just a lower than the 68 million release cost. But I was going to say that if the Gyökeres thing didn't work out, I think the next option would have been a João Pedro, and I would not have been mad at that. I honestly,
he's pretty
relatively around the same price, and I honestly would have. I'm just one of those people. I'm like, your 9 has to be able to like drop into midfield and play. That's just an expectation for me. So he's really good, which I was kind of shocked that you guys were not very high on the signing, but
no, it's not that I wasn't high on the player. It was I wasn't high on.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah, because they just signed a bunch of other guys that played in similar spots.
Yeah.
Like I'm still a little confused, if I'm being honest with you, because honestly, this tournament just reaffirmed what I was confused about, which is you just signed Delap, you just signed Gittins, and he's gonna play in those 2 spots. And like we were talking about with Champions League and Premier League, I just think that I honestly I get the idea that they're bigger squads. I still think that in the biggest games, your best players play, and they're gonna play full 90s. That's how my head works.
So Julian Alvarez left City.
Yeah, I mean, I also think if you can get Jackson out of your club, I think that's a good thing because that guy
he's worth 100 million pounds.
They took that out of context. They think he can become 100 million pound striker,
which is
I agree with.
I think that's just a
Hoyland went for 80.
That's just a way of saying that you think that he's worth 100 million. And you're not going to take a low ball, which means that he's not leaving, in my opinion, unless you really have.
Serie A is the only teams of interest. The only team I can see actually putting the money up front that we're willing to sell for would be Villa. I think Unai Emery loves him. They love each other. It's a match made in heaven. He's the one who turned Jackson into a striker. And then my whole thing with Jackson, he's super young. He's not that experienced. He hasn't played top level for very much at all. Unlike a lot of these guys who come up in academies, like a Liam Delap, let's say. He's come up playing in Man City's academy. He's very refined for a player his age. Jackson's the opposite. So I will always be of the stance that there is a player in there. I think he will come good. I'm starting to doubt if it's going to be at Chelsea. If we sold him for 65, 70, I'd understand it. Anything less, I don't think it's worth it, especially in the striker market. I can't emphasize it enough. That first half of the season, like we can't forget what he did his whole first season. 14 goals, 10 goals. He's super frustrating. But if he gets remotely clinical,
I gotta pause you here. I gotta pause you here because I just saw Mila make one of the most disgusted faces I've ever seen in my entire life, and I have to know what was going on in your head there. I have to know.
He's never been a believer in Jackson. This much we know.
It's not. I don't see it. You know,
we don't see eye to eye with Jackson. I see a top level player in there. The instincts are there, but then the strikers.
I just think confidence-wise, he shot. So get value out of him now.
That's exactly where my head was going.
Like I think Delap and Pedro are better options than him.
I agree. No, I agree. Rationally, you're right.
What is he? What is the point of having?
What's the point of keeping him?
That price that you asked for him, that's 65 to 70.
Unless you're playing him off the left,
it's absurd.
No one's paying that, which is crazy because I mean they paid 80 for Hoyland, who had 9 goals in Italy, and I'm not just saying
you sell him for 40, and you slap on a fucking.
You paid 35.
don't
No, we
We've
paid
talked enough
35.
about his
Don't
team.
rationalize
Double-digit
the
goals,
signing
2
price
years.
with United. That's okay. New baseline rule
Yeah,
for the podcast.
fair
If
to
you're
him.
going to rationalize a price for a player, don't
Yep,
use
yep.
United because it
That's a good
just
point.
becomes rendered invalid.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It is a good
Also,
point.
Hoyland, when he came in, that's kind of just what everyone thought he was going to be. Turns out he's shit.
No, I agree, but I think Jackson, the way he's talked about versus the player he actually is, they're very far apart. So
Yeah.
I think the gone a little far with him. I think he's dreadful for most of the second half. That much I can agree. But a year and a half during our shirt, I think he was fantastic. So I think it would suck to see him go, but I feel like unfortunately he falls into a similar category Madueke falls into. I just like Jackson a lot more, is where we don't have a problem keeping you. There's a player in there. We think you can get better, but even at your best, you're not going to be where we need you to be. Even right now, you're far off from where we need you to be. Madueke, in that instance, he's absolutely shown progress. He's been here 2.5 years. Facundo's points, spot on. Fearless. He will keep going. He will keep dribbling. Unfortunately, when he likes to make defenders get off balance, unfortunately, he's off balance just as much of the time. He runs into traffic a lot. He loses the ball. His work rate towards the end of the year teetered off quite a bit. Started to show a lot more visible frustration. And you started to remember why, yeah, there's a player in here. He plays for England. He looks really good when he plays for England, but we got to coming in. This project can move on without him. You know, I think Neto proved his worth in that final with that wingback shift. Like, that's a player willing to do what he's got to do for the team. Noni, I'm not as sold on. He's a lot more about himself, just as a negative. But Jackson, unfortunately, probably falls into that category. I just really like Jackson. I'm not sold on him being finished, but Mila, you got something?
I would like to bring it back to Arsenal's summer window so far.
Thank you.
Oh, good point.
The conversation around I think Noni and Gyökeres, for me at least, has gone way too far in one direction, which is like it makes it sound like these guys are bad signings.
It's our own fucking fan base.
It's crazy. They're not bad signings.
Welcome to the club.
They're really good signings, in my opinion. I am way higher. I'm way higher on Gyökeres than I think the three of you combined. Just because I think you in the Premier League specifically, you need a bagsman. That's just what this league demands at this point. I think it's just the going rate is you need a guy that can get you 15 plus. I don't know a good team that doesn't have a guy that can get you 15 plus. I don't see Saka as a guy that can give you 15 plus. I think that his overall game uplifts everybody else to get you 15 plus, if that makes sense. I think he's a floor raiser to a certain extent where like it was similar to like a KDB. That's how I feel about Saka. I'm very high on Saka. Not to say that I'm not. I think that he can do it. I just don't think that's what he's tactically being instructed to do. And that Gyökeres signing is the one that's just like, it's such like a punch in the face to what you were kind of saying, which is like Arteta doesn't like that profile of player or hasn't shown it. So now that he's going with it, this is, and maybe we can segue into Arteta more focused because I'm going to ask you this every time you come on.
Yeah.
But these are Arteta signings to me. They're his players, and I like for me this would be his last shot to get a trophy. Like I think that if you get a trophy, like he stays, right? But like if he goes, let's say he goes another season, and there's no trophies, and let's say you just finish kind of similar to what you guys did this year, is that good enough for you? Like, are you still going to be in the same place as you are with Arteta now?
Yeah, till you find me a better replacement. Yeah.
Okay. So it has to do with just not knowing who the next guy would be.
It's first. I really do like to point out that this guy's literally in his first like 5 years of managing any team. His first job was a Big Six club in London. There's a learning curve there, I'd imagine, that a lot of people would not be able to get over. So those people that have those opinions of like get him out, who would you go get? Please tell me who is available that is better than the guy you currently have. So like a lot of those narratives, I don't really like to get into that. I think he's a really good coach. I think the Gyökeres signing is more of a sporting director signing. I think Arteta is just a bigger fan of C.O.C, but understands like it's not worth the money. And the sporting director has been high on Gyökeres. Once he was confirmed as being the sporting director, a lot of the links to Gyökeres started popping up. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily an Arteta signing, but to your point, they're backing him. Would I like the idea of not winning another trophy? No, but I don't know why people are so unconvinced that he can't do it. I don't really get that. Like last year obviously was disappointing, but you had a shit ton of injuries. The year before that, you pushed City to the last day. That was probably your best start to finish performance. And then the year before that, you choked it. Like, but it was also like the team at that point, like lost one of their best players and then didn't really have a lot of depth. So like, I don't know. I think Arteta is the one. I think he'll win a trophy. Like, I will forever think about Donnarumma making all those saves in those Champions League games because it was literally like it's world class. Like he couldn't get to the Palmer ones, but he gets to the Delap one, and I'm like, oh, that's the guy that I saw for 2 legs of a semifinal. But yeah, I like that they're backing him. I'm interested to see how creative he is. I think as long as you give him players that are good, I think he'll find a way to make it all click. I think the one thing I do want to see this year from the team is central progression. And I think Zubimendi will help with that, where it's not as much playing around the block and playing through the block. So hopefully you see, I think that's really where that comes from. Like, I think Eze coming in and being kind of just like another creative player that can make the right pass from anywhere, has the ability to finish. I think those are more of the things that we need. So play through the middle quicker, give the ball to your best players. That I've sent Grant this like screenshot of like Billy Carpenter, who I think is a really good writer on Twitter. But anyways, like give me the fucking ball and I'm going to attack type of player. Like I think that that's more of what we need is guys that are like, I don't give a shit. Like we're going to go again and again and again because you have the ball for 90% of the match. So get players that do that. And you might give some stuff up defensively, but I think you've proven that you've had one of the best defenses in the world for the past couple of years now. So attack more, take more risk. And if we do that, I think we can be successful this year.
Yeah. No,
You got enough individual.
No, you're right. And I like all your points. I just bring up the Arteta thing because personally, my belief is if he doesn't win anything this year, he's gone. And I think that to your point about who's the next best manager, like who would you even get? I think that gets answered once he gets sacked because that's the most desirable job in all of football. That's immediately what that becomes because you've got a super expensive club, super expensive squad, sorry, with a ridiculous amount of talent, probably one of the best young players in the world in London. I think that becomes immediately the most desirable job. City's got a manager. Chelsea's got a manager. Liverpool's got their guy. United is nowhere close to competing, and if they sack Amorim, that's not a desirable job either. Real Madrid just got their guy. Barca's got their guy. Company's got Bayern on lock. I just don't see anywhere else that the next top manager goes to. And so, especially after,
You can also get whoever you want.
I think it just becomes a World Cup thing too.
You can get whoever you want.
Can I ask a follow up to that? Is give me a manager that is better than Arteta of the teams you did not just mention.
Sorry, I was
gonna say Enzo Maresca.
Who's the manager?
But you could go get a guy like that. That's
who?
my only argument, Facundo. I agree with your point.
Nagelsmann.
But I'm saying we got a championship manager. Nagelsmann's good, but he's
I
World
get
Cup.
that.
German.
But I
World
think
Cup is this summer.
After the World Cup.
The World Cup is this summer.
just like Arteta, it was his first actual job outside of being an assistant coach for Pep. Like those guys are kind of like anomalies. Usually you have to do your time, and like a Xabi Alonso, he goes to Leverkusen, he builds it up, something like that. Like I don't, outside of like the only person that you could even, I think, bring up to that point, and I wouldn't even listen to it, is Areola from Bournemouth. That'd be the only guy but that is such a very different way of playing to the players that we have that I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Like I genuinely think if people take the shithousery out of it and you look at it objectively and you line up all the best managers in the world, there's no way that Mikel Arteta is not in the top 8. And if he is, then what is the point of letting go of a guy? Like I personally don't give a shit. Like I have no problem sticking with this guy for the next 15 years if he continuously shows me that his team gets better and that his team learns to evolve and plays a really good way. It's just you've encountered the best team in the world the last couple of years. You fall off this year, but you make a run in the Champions League that gives you like more hope. Like, they clearly can compete against the best teams in the world. It's just putting it together against the shittier teams that they need to figure out. Like, I don't even know why this conversation gets brought up. But fair enough. If you want to have an argument
think
that you've got to win
it's a good
trophies or
point.
whatever, then like so be it. I just think
Nah,
you can watch the sport and be objective about who is a good coach and who is not.
yes, I agree, Facundo. I think you made a really important point. It's progression. If you continuously see progression, keep him in. My whole thing has been, I think it stopped progressing. To me, it looked like it was slowing down. It was getting more and more just park it and direct. You know, the whole we've
I
talked
get
about it
I
a
get what
million
you're
times.
saying.
But
It's
the
a
only
give
thing
and
is,
take.
I think this summer window has been really good.
Yeah.
Objectively, it's been good. I think you've filled a lot of holes in the squad. I think you have all the weapons you really want to be going into this season. Like, okay, we charged 2 years, last year fell off. We need to go win it, right? Mentality. If all goes to plan, and by that I mean there's not just crazy things to happen in terms of your personnel, all that. If all things go and you're 10 points off the title, that's when questions come up for me. But again, there's context. We don't know how that plays out, why it plays out. So it's kind of hard to do the absolutes. But in my eyes, Dylan, as someone who's not a fan of the club, depends on how they play. Depends on what it looks like. If it looks like a lot of what I think last year looked like, that's when you start to see frustrations. But if he comes out of his shell, more like, we're done. We're not thinking about that 4-1 from 3 years ago. We've moved on. We're going to get more on the front foot like we used to. Then there's different conversations. Because if they do that, they look really positive and they lose on the last day and they don't win any trophies, I think it'd be stupid to sack him. So I think it really just comes down to that. But he's been back, and I think that's very important. And I think they're absolutely going to be better than last year. I think the point total is definitely going to be higher than last year. I still don't think it happens, though. But of course, I'm going to say that. So
And this is where I struggle with it. And like, maybe this is just like Twitter, but I get the idea of like, if City wasn't the one to win it, it should have been us, right? Just based off what you had seen the last 2 years. And I think the fact that everyone's like, it was such a down year and like Liverpool ran away with it. Like, I guess that's a good way of looking. I guess you can look at it that way. Like, to me, it's always going to be difficult. And yeah, you can get mad at the moments in which you feel like the league was not as difficult to win it and you should have made an aggressive play there. I can get that. But like, I don't think those, like, regardless of all that, your team's going to have to win a tough competition, whether it's the UCL, the league. Like, you're going to have to fight your way through it and prove that you are the best. That's literally the point of watching all the games. If you don't think that this team is good enough to compete, then so be it. I've seen enough in which we've gone in with Mikel Merino at striker and outplayed the champions of Europe. And granted, that's a moral victory, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know how you can watch that and then think this guy sucks, in which you've generated more chances than the team that beat you with a slow 8 playing as your 9. Like, what else? Every moment this year that this team has gotten hurt, granted, they found a way to get results. It looked ugly, but they found a way to get results. What are you going to complain about? This manager's literally showing that regardless of the circumstances in front of him, he's going to put a team out there that will compete and find a way to win. I don't know what else you want. Like, yeah,
to
you can want
me,
some flashy shit and you
you know
can
my
do that.
opinion.
But I think at the end of the day, this dude's built a team with a mentality that believes it can win. It just needs to do it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we also beat XG, so that was a good one to be the second team to do that. The way I look at it is he's intentionally regressing the way they play in terms of what I'm seeing on the eye, like that beautiful style you were first playing. That's how I was interpreting it. To your point, Facundo, I give my manager the very same credit of towards the stretch, towards the run-in. We started to win ugly games. I'm praising my manager for the same thing I'm shitting on your manager for. It's a fair point. I just think it was intentional. And to your point, from all the way back 22, 23, ever since that City game, it's like, oh, we got to tighten up. No chances, and just minimalizing the excitement of the game, the randomness of the game. But as a manager, your job is to win. Your job is not to please me as a fan. So yeah. I get both sides.
I don't disagree in terms of like it wasn't as fluid attacking wise, and there wasn't as much like purpose or speed to it. Like when I watched a lot of our games, it's like God damn, we move the ball so slow, man. It's so frustrating. And it's just side
Yeah.
to side. I get that frustration. That's why I said, like, I want to see us play through the middle more. So I don't disagree with the opinion that, like, last year it took a step back. I wouldn't put that on the manager after having seen everything that happened. I think you were missing a lot of players. Odegaard didn't really look healthy until the end of the year. You missed soccer for a lot of the year. You missed your starting 9 for the majority of the year. All of your depth got hurt. You had Raheem Sterling starting because you didn't have anybody else. Like I think with all of the challenges that we were given last year, like obviously the result is shitty, but I've seen enough from how they handle those situations to make me believe that going forward with a healthier, not even a full strength squad, a healthier squad, that this team is able to compete at the level that it should.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's up to interpret of how it goes next year and how they're going to play. But I think the signings are saying you might be right.
No, I don't disagree that Arteta is a good manager. I think he is a good manager. I don't think you guys would be where you're at without him. I just think that at a certain point, if you hold on to milk long enough, it becomes sour, right? And enough bad juju can come and get you in a complacency sense. And I think that it might just need a refresh at some point, right?
No, I completely agree.
just don't know if you can refresh the team enough where I think you can refresh the manager and make that simple change. And that's where like my head's kind of at. I could be completely wrong. I probably
I agree. I
wrong.
use the same argument for the Knicks firing Tibbs, so I get where you're coming from.
But also at the same time, like I think you guys probably do win a trophy this year. I think that is an objective. I think if we're looking at the season and Arteta's got
Which one?
It's one of them. There's 4 to win, right? You can win. Is there 4 to win? 3 to win? 4?
3 for you.
So yeah, well, fuck. We're winning all 3 of them. So, no, we stopped talking about United until they actually do stuff. But yeah, so like I think that you guys win a trophy, and so yes, this conversation is just objectively stupid in that regard because it just rewrites everything that I'm saying. I just wanted to.
I don't think they're gonna.
All right, can I poll a group? Like no context to it. If he doesn't win a trophy next year, who thinks he gets fired?
Oh, if I think he gets fired?
Like
No.
if he doesn't win a trophy next year, does he get sacked? Yes or no?
I think he's gone.
I don't think they fire him.
I don't think they fire him either. Which if it's perfect.
So can I ask the question of do you think
keep buying my
It's all good. I was just
Kepa's gonna add. We didn't talk about what Kepa's gonna add to their squad.
I didn't hear what you asked, Dylan.
Oh, I was just asking the opposite of that question is do you think he should get sacked if they don't win a trophy?
No.
You said
like I don't know who else you bring in that makes this squad
I can
championship manager.
I definitely see where Fac's coming from in that sense.
Like if you can give me if someone pops up next year and it's like, oh shit, fair enough.
Kieran McKenna.
I think it's Nagelsmann. I think it's just a race at that point for that guy. Because I don't think he sticks around with Germany more than that. Than the World Cup.
Yeah.
I just think you're so foolish if you let go of Arteta. I genuinely.
And I think that opinion is totally rational. And look, you watch Arsenal week in, week out, and you saw where you were at. Look, like if Amorim was to get United out of the mud right now, I'd probably never want to get rid of him either. Right? Like that, there's some emotional attachment there too.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I totally fair with it. But on the topic of Arsenal, let's get to the last segment of the show, which is taking stocks, which is essentially just, like I said, we're going to say that we know ball at the end of the year, and it's because of these players. Just kind of give it like a 3-minute spiel or under 3-minute spiel, and then we'll just kind of group talk about the player and then go on to the next guy. But you're starting, Fac. So let me pull this up real quick. Boom.
Yes. The legend. Yeah, I think some of the comparisons to Rodri are a bit much, but overall, I think that you can see some similarities in terms of how good he can be as a 6, and then you've seen Rodri play further up the field as almost like not a pivot player, but like an 8 almost. So I see a lot of that. I don't know. I'm really excited for this signing. I think this is the guy that definitely changes how we play in terms of just speeding us up a little bit. And getting the ball through the middle, which is really what I want to see. So him to Rice, him to Odegaard, him to Eze, if that happens. And I just even think like longer balls, just like getting the ball forward quicker so that you can just run at people as opposed to having to face a set defense is something that I would just like to see a little bit more. I think it makes it easier on the team. So overall, I just think it addresses a lot of the areas that I wanted to see, which is just play the ball forward from your holding 6. Good God. Get it forward. Get the team like, yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah, if I speak.
You're right. He's a tempo setter. I think that's why people like immediately relate him to Rodri, is just because that's the profile of player. And Rodri's a better athlete, but in terms of technical ability, they do a lot of the same stuff. I love this signing. If I could take stocks on another bigger team, this would be my guy. I just think that it's under the radar because you got him in January a little bit, but he's going to completely change the way you guys build out, and I'm impressed by it. Snuck him from Liverpool too, which is, the MO.
Yeah.
They have no pull.
Well, I mean, we agreed. I think the rumors were with us first, and then he said no, and then Liverpool came in and he told them no. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. Got to get 36 in the away kit when it comes out. That's for sure.
Yeah, why'd they give him 36?
I don't want to talk about numbers.
Dead number.
Who cares? Mila, you got anything on Zuby, or you want to go into your guy?
I think you guys covered it. I think he's very class, and he will be a fine addition into the Arsenal squad in terms of progressing the ball forward. And he's going to fill a gap for a missing player in that position.
Yeah, glad he doesn't have a criminal record.
True.
That's all I got for him. I think he'll definitely be exciting, though.
Agreed. While we transition, every time someone says fine addition, I only think of General Grievous. So yeah.
Rico, wow. On the wall. Stocks are back. The stocks were rising last year, and then they had a large dip, I'd say, that came along with the dip of the team as a whole. But I'm re-upping on his stocks this year because I think with the new additions to the team and the fact that he looks like he might play more as an 8 rather than a right back, I think he can offer a lot of what we were talking about previously, way earlier in the pod, what episode, like 10, 11, whatever, when we were first talking about him, in the way that he's able to operate in the tight spaces, in the way that he can see the runs. He has this connection with the City guys. So I think he just progresses the ball differently from the way that Facundo was talking about Zubamendi, but in our way, it's just a quick 1-2 and he's off. And he seems to have that connection with a lot of our players. So if we can implement that just as a squad player, I think he'll be really good. Not to mention he's homegrown. So it's good to have him.
Yeah, I think it's a good stock to invest in. Our kind of whole conversation with him was he's not your superstar maverick player. And again, he was a right back. Now he's playing as a midfielder. But he's really good with really good players. He's intelligent, 1-2s. He understands the game. He understands where to be. So City were shit last year. His stock went down. City look like they're going to be fully loaded. They're going to have time to get this whole new system up and running. Stock's probably going to go back up. So I think this is a good investment.
Yeah, you guys covered it for me. I've said enough praise about Rico Lewis. I think he's just a quality player. Facundo, do you have anything on Rico, or do we want to get over to Grant's?
I'm a little shocked by the selection, but we can get over to Grant's.
Oh!
Who did you want me to pick?
I don't know. I think Foden, after how bad he was last year, would have been my choice.
I have plenty of stock in Foden.
Mila might actually
He's got all the stock.
Mila was that guy holding on to the Ethereum for a little bit when it's super tanked, and now it's just getting back to normalcy.
No, that's a fair shout. I didn't even think about him because I've already been
we've had those conversations.
My opinions known on that one. Yeah.
The one player
I instigated a few of those.
I thought you were totally going to go 8. I thought you totally were going to go 8 Nori here. That's what I thought you were going to go with.
I think the stock's already up for him though. He was an instant impact.
It's a good investment.
So
It's a
like
good
I
smart
thought about
investment.
like
this is a buy low.
him, Nori, Cherokee, Reinders, all of them have had instant impact in the team,
Sure.
I think. And we know what they're gonna offer, and it's just more so about them getting adjusted to the guys they're playing with, building those connections. Whereas with Rico, I want to see his level raise. He's also been, like Grant was saying, he's just what we talked about it. He's one of those guys that needs these better players around him. But on top of that, he looks like he's bulked a little in the summer. So I think part of his weaknesses can be minimized as well.
Yeah, great job. On your point of building connections, I think this is a good segue into Grant's guy.
Good one, Dylan.
Thanks,
It's
man.
really funny. So you guys know the meme of like the parent holding their kid, the other one's drowning, then one of them's like it's the skull in the chair at the bottom of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That's Gittins. Like we have so many signings every summer, people forget, right? So like João Pedro's the shiny new toy. Before that, it was Delat. We haven't seen Gittins play yet, but I think in this system and the way that Enzo Maresca wants to play, I think this is a fantastic signing. To the point Dylan always made about me hating Garnacho, he is that profile of 1v1 direct on the touchline. I think Gittins is a more refined version of that. We've seen Dortmund what they can do for a player's development, especially a young player. So again, he's 20, 21 years old, but he's mature for his age. He's played in the Champions League final. Dortmund are playing big games, European nights, all that. So I don't think the stage will be too bright for him. I also don't think there's going to be too much pressure on him, especially after this summer we've just had, both on and off the pitch. So I think he's going to be able to comfortably gain and grow more confidence in this team with minutes. And I think he's going to have a really big impact by the end of the year. He's going to be a really important player for us.
Yeah, I wish I could revisit this in January because I don't think he's going to play much the first half of the year. And so I wish I could rebuy in January right before the explosion. I think he's a talented player. I just, like you said, you guys have so many options now that I'm like, I just don't even know where you possibly go, where he goes, how he plays. I mean, Neto
He's
was
the only
on the
left winger on the team. He's the only pure left winger.
But you know,
a lot of games against low blocks.
Yeah, your pure right winger in this game against PSG was Cole Palmer. So, you know what I mean? Like,
he's not a pure right winger. He's an inside forward. You have an overlapping fullback. He's a winger. Like he's going to stay wide.
The reason I'm saying that is you can only field 11 guys, and I just don't know.
What were we just talking about with squad depth? You gotta pick. Did we have too much squad depth? Like, you know, it's a balance, and I think we're signing different profiles. About a little more earlier, Dylan, on the last the preview episode, where I think Maresca's starting to get attackers that he trusts and has been consulted with, versus just here's João Felix again, him back. He's starting to get guys that he wants, and I think this is one of those profiles that he handpicked. So maybe I'm a little higher on him, but I think in the games against the low block, we throw lots of numbers forward. You want a guy wide when they block up, clog the middle of the pitch, 1v1. This is your guy. So I think he's going to be big in that sense. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him to show what he can do. Hopefully he takes it, but my stocks are, maybe it wasn't the best time to invest. It's a good point, but I'm here.
Yeah, no. I think he's talented. Mila or Facundo, do you got anything on Gittins?
Muted. But
no,
City,
they're good.
sell on.
They got
that.
Mila said something.
How many City
do you guys have a sell on?
I actually think the reports about the sell-on were wrong. So I think it might have expired or something before you guys.
Nice.
Doesn't matter. Don't matter.
Like,
but
that's another reason to be optimistic, Dylan.
Yeah, no, he'll end up. Yeah, he'll end up playing. I just think I'm gonna buy the stock in January when we revisit this conversation.
No.
He's a City player.
Early.
Before the boom.
Buying City is a smart business thing. It's like buying Bitcoin, knowing that Bitcoin's going to pop off in 5 years.
No, I'm saying we keep buying City players. It keeps working. Oh, here's another one. We'll take
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's literally knowing what Bitcoin's going to become.
It's the circle of life.
We love
Arsenal buys their players so they can buy our players.
When do we get? We can't get.
There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, I don't have a good transition for mine, guys. Sorry, I thought I've been thinking about it. I got nothing. I thought I was gonna have something. There was nothing that I could get to. There's Facundo texted in our chat saying, "Who the fuck would you even pick from United?" Pretty much, and the answer is not a lot. There's not a lot to pick from. We already are way too high on Ahmed in our stock, so I'm not going to revisit that.
not.
No, we just talk about him all the time. It would be it would be bad for the 7 people that watch this podcast on a regular basis for them to hear us talk more about Ahmed. So I'm going to take a different approach, and I'm going to go Patrick Dorgu, player I call left, because that's on FUTMob before we got him. It was just the entire left-hand side. I think that I don't think he's a world beater. And I think to Mila's kind of point in terms of the player that I'm talking about, it's just a floor raiser in the team. I think his physical attributes match what Amram wants. He's Amram's second, only 2 of Amram's signings are him and Cunha. And I think that honestly is going to make him a ton better too. Just having a player of quality who can put the ball in the back of the net on a cross is going to help. I think that at the end of last season, we were starting to see the best out of Patrick. And I just thought that next to Bruno and Cunha, maybe this is the player that really pops off, and he's natural to the left wing back role. He can do it both. He's a good defender, but he also can get up the wing. He's fast as fuck. And so that's my player, because I'm excited for him, and I don't really have much else to go off of. There's no more stocks to buy.
Is low, so yeah, shit, it's a good investment.
The only other guy that I was thinking about was Aiden Heaven, because we're all
what I was gonna
high
be
on
my
it.
pick. Yeah.
Would have been funny for Facundo. Yeah, it would have been good.
But I think I'm going with the guy that we paid 30 for, and I think he's just a good value pick. Gonna hope.
Yeah,
I think the best version of the team
he'll grow into the position.
And I fucking hope so.
He's not a natural fullback or defender, so those instincts are gonna have to come with time. But yeah, there's definitely the physical attributes in there. It's just if the team can get their shit together. If the team gets their shit together to some extent, and by that I mean like if they're 8th place floor, like that's their shit together in my eyes with how bad they are, he'll look better. So I think that'll just come with time. But yeah, there's a player there.
Do you like the Mbumu signing?
Yeah. No, I
really
do. I it's gonna happen, I think. I hope. I like it though. I think that in terms of just floor raising, that's what United need, is just a bunch of summers in a row of just lifting the Premier League floor level, because it's dropped to a level of like, what are we doing here? And I think getting more pros, I think that's what United's missed, and I think that the sporting directors before have missed, is just getting guys in systems that work in a bunch of variations. So like, just in case Amram doesn't work, like I know for a fact that Mbeumo can play right wing, right? And if it's
versatile
in this 10,
forwards,
it's great. We've talked about it a bunch in terms of just what his profile brings. I mean, he had 20 goals last year, so you're just buying goals. It's a little bit of money ball. Do I think that he probably replicates 20 goals? No, but even if he replicates his GA by 50%, it's still a step up by a lot.
I like Mbumo a lot.
I don't want to get the hard part for me as a United fan is getting too high on any signing at this point, because they just haven't worked out, regardless of if I think that they're a good player or not. That just doesn't work. It's a very toxic nature currently.
Guess his age.
His age?
Yeah.
Well, if he had hair, he'd be 25.
He's like 26, right?
Yeah, he's like 20.
25.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like I said, if he had hair, he'd be 25. So he's not 25 in my eyes. He looks
I
like
do
he's
like
30.
the shine on his head, though. I can't lie.
It's got aura, dude. I think being bald gives you 5+ aura.
That depends, but him, absolutely. He rocks it.
He does rock it. He does rock it. But yeah, that's my guy. Those are the big 4 teams. I don't fucking give a shit about Liverpool. I know that there's a flag in the back of your screen, but I could give 2 shits about even remotely talking about their stocks. I hope that they plummet and fall. So
I'd imagine it's Florian though, but yeah.
Yeah, probably.
No.
Probably. You're buying Bitcoin right now. That's what that is. But
I sold all my.
Can I buy
Florian.
Harvey Elliott in 2 years? But after that 2 years, it has to be in 2 years. And then maybe in 2 years.
Buying bonds.
That's my Liverpool stock.
Yeah, so let's get into the outside of our top 4 teams. Mila, you're going to go first with Igor Jesus.
Boom.
Fun.
This is a fun one, I think. Nottingham's got a pretty big makeover coming up top. We're just attacking players in general. Morgan Gibbs-White, Langa's gone. Don't think Wood's going to replicate what he just did. So I think he's going to have a lot of impact, and they should make a decent amount of money this summer with the outgoings. So they should bring in more players, especially with the fact that they brought in Igor Jesus for 30, along with like three other players. They're getting a lot of bang for their buck, and I think he's going to be an exciting player. That's part of that. He should be able to win a lot of headers for them. He's not the tallest, but he's good in the air, and he created a lot of chances during the Club World Cup. So I'm hoping to see him do that for Nottingham as well.
Yeah, this whole multi-club model thing and the way they're manipulating the finances and buying these players, I'm disgusted with it. So
did you watch the video, son? You're
Which one of him?
The signing. It has nothing to do with the player.
I was making fun of the argument against my club, Mila. It was a bit of banter.
Oh.
No, I think he's going to be good. I thought he showed a lot in that tournament, and he's, fiery Brazilian striker. It's going to be fun regardless. And Chris Wood, he's not going to score 20 goals the next 5 years. You know what I mean? So yeah, smart to bring in someone else. Good value in today's market by all means. And I think they still have like Emmanuel Dennis on the books, right? So I mean, if this guy doesn't work out, loan him out a few times. Next,
I think he might though, and I think I could see him scoring against the big teams too.
No, he can play. I don't think he can end up like that. I'm just saying it's low risk, high reward.
No.
So
I'm just saying that it certainly seems just like he struggles against these defensive teams. But in these games where they're going to go at Nottingham, I think he's certainly going to be able to create chances, whether it's counterattacking or whatever.
Yeah. This might be the first ever player that got picked up because the owner is a shithouse. Like this, Igor Jesus is just such a shithouse player. Like the perfect Brazilian striker for exactly what their owner is. You know what I mean? I like it. It's a good signing. Like your guys' points, like Wood's on the way out, I think, at some point. Like you just can't assume that he's going to replicate what he's currently doing. Just be unrealistic. And they have Europa, right? They got Europa.
As of right now, Palace are going to protest. Everything I'm seeing, they have a good shot at winning it. So either way, they get Europe. Thursday nights.
Igor Jesus time on Thursday nights. Facundo, you're going to go next here.
I hate to say it, but yeah. I picked like 3. I don't know if you have all 3, but
we're going to talk about your last one at the very end.
All right, sick. Yeah, I think for me, my number 10 option this year, I didn't even consider Eze, but I would have loved Eze. This was my pick for who I kind of wanted in a number 10 position, just to give us a little bit something different. I think he can hit the crap out of the ball. He can put the ball wherever he wants. He can drive with the ball and carry. He plays with a Premier League intensity that I like. I love Thomas Frank, but I can't believe he picked my nemesis. I can't believe it. And then this guy's going. They're doing something right.
I don't think it's happening.
I think
he reported to Forest, and they said the Tottenham like no more contact with him. He's our player. So like that's where it's at right now.
Even if he's
never stopped anyone.
Yeah, and even if he did say, I still think I would buy his stock. This dude is so good. Every time I watch Morgan Gibbs-White, I enjoy the performance.
Badge on his chest, I fear.
I don't remember the last time the Spurs have spent money for a manager and been like, you want player X? Here's player X. They did it twice.
They won something.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Levy is not a guy that
correlate.
I don't trust.
We've never seen him win anything.
No, I just don't correlate anything with Levy because I think he's a moron. So the fact that he's doing something not moronic is just a shock to me. I don't think.
Yeah, game changer and 60 million, dude. You're crazy. Like that's good value for a player like that.
Absolutely.
Any of our teams could have gone in and got Gibbs-White, and I'd be going, "That's a fucking good signing."
Now we have too many midfielders.
I mean, I remember I was talking to you guys about it, like right when we got the notification that he was going to go Tottenham. We were like, oh, apparently City are still linked with him. And it was like, boom, Tottenham gives White. We were like, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Guy on the up and up. This is a great shout. When he sent it to me, I was like, fuck. Now I have to. It happened 2 times. Like Grant's guy and your guy I was thinking of. And then I had to pivot because I was like, I can't have the same fucking dudes. Sucks. This is such a.
We can tag team a segment.
Well, I'm essentially saying that I agree with you guys wholeheartedly here. So, Grant, we might as well go with you next. Hit it here. Boom. Fast transitions.
There he is. So, very striker Villarreal. Scored 15 goals, I believe, in the league last year. 6'5". I don't know. Some people are saying like, oh, it's just going to be like the Beto signing with 30+ million for a foreign striker from a different league who comes in and just kind of does nothing. But Beto kind of on the up and up at the end of the year last year. But Barry, I really like. I think Villarreal's got a good track record with producing these players. I mean, Jackson, again, we had that conversation, but I'd say the signing was a success on most fronts. And I think I'm not going to say they're fully buying in and they're going for it, Everton, but I mean, they're moving into a new stadium. They're definitely, in my opinion, not going to be teetering towards relegation like they have been the past few years. And I think this is going to be a big part of it. Can score goals in a variety of ways. And I think the way Moisey likes to play in transition, have a big target man like this, I think it's a match made in heaven. They'll probably slap the 9 on him. Calvert-Lewin's gone. Flip the page. And I think I don't want to say they're going to shock people, but I don't know. I think Everton are going to finish higher than people think, closer to the table.
Save it for the table prediction.
Yeah.
I'll just put him 15th.
I love this signing because of all the things you just said. Like, David Moyes loves a big fucker, huh?
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
And they gave him one of the biggest fuckers around, like 6'5", decent to above athlete. He's gonna score goals, I think. That's why I'm investing my stock in him too. That's why I like him. I have never seen him play. I just know that he's a massive dude, and that's just such a David Moyes signing. Like, has nothing to do with me actually knowing if he's going to be any good or if he is any good. It's just the fact that it's David Moyes, 6'5". Put it together, and you've got something. You got goals.
See, when I sent you mine, when you said, "Dang, you took one of mine," I was like, "Oh, Gittins." So I was like, "There's no way you watch this guy or seen any of him." And
no,
it all makes sense now. But yeah. Sometimes it's easy as 2 + 2 = 4. David Moyes, big fucker.
Literally,
we'll see.
Brexit. Everton is Brexit. This feels Brexit. I love it. Okay, so I'll do mine, and then I didn't do João Pedro Facundo because we've already talked about him, but the other one had some news today, so we'll talk about that at the very end. Let me quickly do mine because we've talked about him a ton on the show so far. It's Morgan Rogers for me. I don't care if his stock is at an all-time high already. I'm buying in right fucking now because I think that when we're looking at top 10s in the league, I think that he's in top 5. I think that he cements himself as top 2. And I think that he is the guy that everyone's going to be looking to sign. I know that Grant wants to get his number and his pen to paper tomorrow, right? That's his dream Chelsea signing. I don't think that Villa would be in the right mind to do that this summer. And I just don't
have
see
a Nicholas Jackson, my friend. Thursday nights.
I just don't see it happening. And I think that Morgan Rogers is going to be the first on every single team's list come next summer. And it's going to be for a ridiculous fee. So that's why I'm buying in. We could talk about his skills or what he does on the pitch because it's ridiculous. But I think he puts himself in that Cole Palmer category of player in the 10 spots.
It's your boy. Come hang out with him. Train every day. I don't know. I mean, but yeah, he's top. He's top level. I think he showed it as soon as he stepped into that Villa team. Scored against us when he was still at Middlesbrough, but like he was the only player who was like, oh, wait a minute. And that's around a bunch of guys in the championship against Chelsea. So when he pretty much walked into their team to start the season and never came out of the lineup, played all across the front 3. I think he's a top player. That's why I want him, because I think the way we're going, not positionless, but there's more freedom within the structure, and I think he'd fit that perfectly. He's a really intelligent player, amazing ball carrier. I think that's something that we could use in our forward line. And in terms of tangibility, I don't think they sell him this summer unless they're literally forced to. And we know they've had PSR issues before. We've helped them out before. So I think if they get put in between a rock and a hard place, I do think we get him over the line this summer. I do think we're still bringing in another attacker. I hope it's him. But yeah, either way, if he stays there, he's probably close to $1 million next summer. He's that good to me.
Yeah, agreed. You guys have anything you want to say on Morgan Rogers? Alrighty, let's get into the last one, which I think is more of a group one. We've all talked about him a little bit. The news broke today that Newcastle is getting closer to getting this guy, and I think that we might as well just assume that he's going there. I don't think that there's any other team really in the running. Newcastle, after we kind of made a comment about them not being going for it, it kind of felt like they were stalling a little bit. Hugo Ekitike. Facundo, you put him in your list, so you start with why you're taking stock in this guy.
I think it might also just be an association to stock in Newcastle. Holy crap, what a transition team that would be. Isak, him, Ilanga, and Gordon on the wings, and then you have Tonali and Bruno. That's a they can figure out the defensive side. I think that's a pretty tough team to face in the Prem. But I know people say he's a mini Isak. This is glory days, bro. This is like 2008 footy. Like, I'm getting a 4-4-2 with two guys that are absolute ballers. Like, to me, like, that's just a lot of fun. They're going to be able to play off each other, very similar play styles in terms of lanky, but the ability to dribble, carry. I haven't really looked in terms of like what their tendencies are and like what side of the pitch they like to play on. But I'd imagine they can learn to adapt to each other. But yeah, I just think it's probably more of a stock in Newcastle and like how exciting that could be. But I do think that makes that team extremely interesting. And then if they ever do have to sell Isak, it gives them a pretty good backup option. So yeah, I think that's probably why I'm excited about it.
I think he's the replacement, but I don't think that means Isak leaves this summer. I think they're preparing for his exit with a player, to your point, mini Isak, very similar. You can slot him right into this current system and you'll be able to figure it out pretty quickly. But to your point as well, if it's them two up top this year, I absolutely think they can work that out with those two dogs in the middle. Honestly, I'm a little surprised they wouldn't prioritize this track before getting Ekitike. I still think they have time to get that done as well. To the whole Arsenal point, we're making fun of their window with just Madueke coming out. They completed most of their business a week later. So this doesn't mean they're not signing a center back. Probably Gahey's the only one I've heard, but that was last year. But yeah, if they keep that 4-4-2 this year, Gordon, Alanga on both sides, Ekitike, Isak up top, that won't be fun at St. James. It's not even fun at St. James regardless.
And in terms of him being that replacement, just long-term replacement for when Isak does go, I think this formation would benefit them, that playing side by side, day by day, day in, day out. Like, he's only going to learn what Isak's doing and then also just grow in his own ways to be able to then take that lone striker role if he needs to, or play it with someone else if Isak does move on. Don't like what that might mean for the rest of the league if Isak does stay within the league, but certainly exciting to have this guy in the Prem.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I was one of something like, oh, this is the Isak replacement. And now the more that I think about it, like if Newcastle do well and Isak stays, like this is Marmoush and Ekitike from Frankfurt this season.
Yeah.
And Isak is a better version of Marmoush, like in that sense, like you're replacing or you're trying to replicate that essentially. And I think that's just an amazing signing. I didn't think Newcastle were in on this move. I didn't know that they were.
Not at all.
So to Facundo's point, I think that we have like a 5 or 6 horse race. Really, we're looking at just a ridiculous title race here, with a bunch of cannibalistic natures to it. I don't think there's a runaway favorite. This is going to be closer to some of the footy we used to see, and less of this just like one team is fucking 20 points up by the end of the year. I think that we're going to be scraping the barrel here. I think it's going to be an exciting year for the pod and the Prem in general. I think it's going to be great, except for my team. We'll be right outside that.
It's becoming a
course.
super league at this point.
I was going to say, I've heard from a friend that Liverpool, this guy's are still like heavy favorites because of them winning the league by so much and then bringing in Verts, Frimpong, Kirkish. What do you say to that? If there's no heavy favorite, you don't think Liverpool? Do you think that there's a conversation to be had there, or not even? You're not entertaining that?
I'm not. I think that this is in terms of talent, I think this is the closest the league has ever seen in terms of like a top 5 or 6 race. I think the money in the Premier League has finally caught up with the talent. And so that's where I'm at. I don't think that Liverpool are heavy favorites because I saw the way that they ended last season. And even though they're adding these players in, that's going to take time. And I think that everyone else kind of took a step back. I think Arsenal took a step back last year. I thought City did. Chelsea took steps forward and steps back, but now you're 2 steps forward. So I just think that everybody got so much better this summer. And I just think there's just going to be such a cannibalistic nature. I don't think Liverpool are going to dominate in the big games like they did this year. And that's obviously that'll just make it a closer match. My camera died because we're an hour and 40. So
nice.
You're going to see me fist pumping with my Galaxy jersey on.
Don't worry. Solidarity, Dylan. Look at that. 4 fucking years you have to look at that.
Yeah. So that's why. That's why I got that.
Yeah.
Ready? Yeah.
Honorable mention, Wharton. If that guy also signs for Spurs, bro, I'm logging off.
No, I saw 60 million. I saw 60 million. That'd be awful.
If it's 60 million and United don't do that, literally go into debt for that, I would literally break my fucking TV.
He wants to go play Champions League, Dylan. You can't blame the guy.
Fuck off. No, he doesn't. He plays for Palace. Doesn't matter what he wants. I don't give a shit. To fucking overpay Spurs would be my opinion on that. Because I think Wharton is class.
That's what we did to Liverpool. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you just do it. Sorry.
Did more.
Just give him more money. Go further into debt. Simple. I'm with that. For Wharton, I'm with that. Cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or hour 42 good for you guys?
Yeah, I think that works.
Hour 42 is good for me. Yeah. Special episode number 50. I can't believe that we've done this for 50 straight. So shout out the boys. Shout out all of our guests. Facundo, thank you for being our special number 50 guest. But yeah, from myself, from Mila, from Grant, and from Facundo, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys in the next one.
2 words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal! Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent! Potentially life-changing! That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.